Number 18.
All right, so we're over here at SoFi Stadium. A lot of beautiful Cowboy fans coming through.
Hola, ¿cómo? Hey, get it.
It is getting wild out here at SoFi Stadium. We're doing shots. We got whiskey. It's going down. That's how Cowboy fans do it. All the CanFan maniacs out there. How about them Cowboys? We walked what I'm calling a Dallas Cowboys corridor. As you can tell, we are at a Cowboys home game. Yes, I understand that we are in Los Angeles, Inglewood, technically SoFi Stadium, but this is basically AT&T West. So follow me this way. We're gonna see if we can find a couple of fans. We are infiltrating enemy territory. The Cowboy fans are doing it right. We got the signage, we got the great food, we got the inflatables. Thoughts on today's game?
We're gonna beat the shit out of them.
Woo! You see this right here? How do you feel about today's game?
We better win, that's all I know.
How do you feel about Dak Prescott after last week's performance?
Dak Prescott has been very consistent with the division. He has took us back-to-back 12-5 seasons. You know what I mean? He has winning records above. You can say what you want about the past 7 years, but on our division, he has been owning it for years.
Are you a Dak rider or are you a Dak hater?
Before he broke his finger, I was a rider. Now, nah. They need to let him go now.
You know Dak Prescott's watching this right now, right? Actually follows the CanFan podcast.
Woo! Let's go!
Let's go, baby! Cowboys Nation, son! Let's go! Cowboys Nation represent!
Anthony, Adam, AJ on the block. Dallas Cowboys swag, bout to rock the flock. Canadian host to them Philly birds get mocked. Cowboys CanFan podcast game locked. Crack 'em if you got 'em, pop tops and chill. Vancouver.
Yeah, we're still smiling.
Real skill.
Football game ain't gonna bring down my mood, baby.
Crack 'em if you got 'em, hear the buzz and thrill. Big D, energy, no chillin' BC.
Welcome to the Cowboys CanFan Hangover Show, where we talk about how much we hate the Dallas Cowboys. But before we get into that, let me get one of these Crack'ems. I mean, Crack'em if you got them. This is just a bubbling water, sparkling water, because I do have some nasty heartburn from yesterday's copious amount of alcohol and pizza. So that's where I'm on the actual health feeling of my hangover today.
Yeah, hangovers are, you can, and in fact, when we say crack 'em if we got them, it's not just limited to drips, to vodka sodies, to beers. If you have a pop soda, you know, you can, or like Ant's drinking a bubbly, go ahead and crack those. I mean, we do not judge.
Oh, we can't judge, guys. How you and you got a coffee?
Well,
over there.
I was gonna say I'm drinking a coffee out of my $40 Fanatics Cowboys
That was
mug.
$40.
But you can see how shitty it is because they just use a decal on the front of it. So,
or as our American counterparts
decal.
say, decal.
So I mean,
What did that Canadian just say?
yeah. I mean, I don't feel good about drinking coffee out of a Cowboys cup, but hey, I bleed blue and silver out here,
Man, and I don't think many Cowboy fans are waking up happy to drink out of any Cowboys purchased memorabilia because
we got mollywopped yesterday.
We got. Let's just get that out of the way right now. We got mollywopped. Mollywopped is the very PG-13 nice thing to say about what happened to the Cowboys.
Someone walked into our house yesterday, took a TV off the wall,
on
took our
Grandpa's birthday.
On Grandpa's birthday, took our food out of the kitchen, took all of our beer out of our fridge, went in and took a dump in our
living room.
went in and took a dump right on the main rug.
Wiped and then did the dog wipe.
And then the dog wipe.
The dog wipe where you just drag your ass on the carpet. That's what happened yesterday. That's what happened. The PG-13 is we got mollywopped. So
we got mollywopped.
Guys, I don't know who wants to start or what you want to talk about because again, it was a punch in the mouth.
It was a punch in the mouth. I do just want to start off by saying happy Canadian Thanksgiving to everyone. It was not how we definitely would have liked to be celebrating yesterday, but who cares? We got the day off, gentlemen, and let's get into some Cowboys football.
Man, yeah, it's Canadian Thanksgiving. It is great to have today off. But I just have up on the screen right now, the Cowboys at this point of the season, you know, we're going into the bye week. It has essentially where they're sitting in the division. If you want to throw that on the screen ad.
Yep.
Their points scored, their record, points allowed, their team grades overall, offense, defense, and special teams. And just by looking at this right here, it's not looking too fresh.
Yeah, no, that looks terrible. So, I mean, where do you even start? Like, this is absolutely atrocious when you look at our rankings.
Overall, 27th, offense 26th, defense 31st, and then special teams the one like glaring
tied for 4th because Brandon Aubrey has.
But you also have Turpin there. So Turpin and Aubrey, our special teams have been doing good, but to be in the bottom third on both offense, defense, and overall is a very telling point. And it feels like it does feel like that.
I have a sorry, Robert Brooks says, wait, what's Canadian Thanksgiving? It's just like American Thanksgiving, except for we didn't go and kill all the Indians like these guys did.
Well, some also would say that's debatable, but so we have no idea.
No, just a little churl. No, it's Thanksgiving. I know. I don't understand why they're not on the same days, but I think the message is the same.
Not even the same month.
Yeah. Ultra Cowboy wants us to remind Robert that the 49ers have a longer Super Bowl trophy drought than the Cowboys.
Which is true. It is true.
And
go ahead, Ed.
I was going to say, well, this is what happens to us on non-victory Mondays. Call it humiliating Mondays. We get everybody else besides Cowboy fans are going to come to our stuff.
We're fine with it. Hey man, that's why we do a live stream with active chat, because we can stomach it. We ain't a bunch of little crybaby bitches. We can take it. Get in the chat, subscribe, like this thing, and then tell us that we suck. We can take it.
And you know what? You're not going to get any disagreement from us, I think, after last night's performance. But I do have some stats. Can I just jump into my topic?
Yeah, and I kind of just had this up. I just kind of had this up because it kind of was relating to yours a little bit.
Absolutely does. I'm just going to roll through some facts and stop me if you have a point. You know how we do. And then I'm going to get to what my whole point of this ramble will be. But I'll do it as quick as I can here. So as we can see, Cowboys are 27th ranked overall, 65.2 rating on PFF. They're behind the Rams, the Browns, the Jags, the Giants, the Bills. Offensively ranked 26, 63.6. They're behind the Panthers, the Giants, the Raiders, the Bears, the Jags. Pass 17th. So there's a little bit of glimmer of hope, especially when you look at our passing options out there. 63.2 ranking from PFF. That's the 17th. Good enough for 17th. Pass block 28th. Pass routes 22nd. Looking at the run specifically, they're the 30th ranked team, 64.2, behind the Colts, the Bears, the Giants, the Browns, the Broncos, and have a run block of 19. Defense, and I'm almost done here, gents.
Oh, hey, you're Stat J for a reason.
Stat J Monday.
31st, ranked 31st, 53.9 dehydrated piss rating. They're only ahead of the Panthers, whoop-de-frickin-do, and they're last against the run, 25th for tackling, and 11th for pressures. Again, a little bright spot there. 11th for pressures, but only ranked 23rd for coverage, and of course, 4th on special teams. So when I break this down, obviously the defense looks worse, but I'm less worried about the defense at this point because we have to consider those injuries to D-Law, Nealand, Williams, Parsons, Carsons, Not So Bland, Kendricks. I know Kendricks was recently added, but that kind of you take all those guys off the field. It's a real take those guys' positions from any team, right? And I think any defense is going to find struggle, right? That's a lot of depth to be covering.
Well, AO, one of their guys that's getting a lot of time as cornerback, he wasn't even on an NFL roster till a month ago.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So that right there, and then the depth pieces, you brought up the depth pieces, you rallied off 7 injuries, and out of those 7 injuries, 5 of those guys are starters. So I don't care how good your defense is. Our defense was already going to be a little bit of a struggle this season, but I don't care how good or bad your defense is. You lose 5 starting pieces, and you're going to get what you got yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
But like you said, AJ, that's not the worry. The worry's the other side.
The worry's the other side. Now I've got some other stats for us guys, and I'm sorry I didn't make a nice pretty stat board. It's just a notepad. Otherwise I could have shared it with you. But here's some some other alarming stats that I think stood out to me. Just looking at the team in 2024, this is our average scoring margin. 2024, the Cowboys are -7. In 2023, mind you, it was a full season worth, so take that into consideration. The Cowboys were almost +10, +9.9. That's a -17 point swing for the first 6 games of 2024 compared to all of last season. So Cowboys just are getting outscored, and we've seen that. They're 47.6% of those 128 points have come from automatic off reads. I actually looked at the rest of the NFL to see, like, well, how close are they to anyone else? Well, in the NFL, their kicker has the second most points added behind Miami, whose 50% of their points have come from the kicker. And the Steelers are the only other team, so it's Miami, Cowboys, and Steelers, the only other team with over 46% of their points coming from kickers. Most are in the 25 to 35% range.
I was gonna say, like, do you have any examples of say Washington or the Eagles?
Perfect. Yeah. So I got 5 comparisons here that I think are good ones. So we got the Lions at 28.5% points from kicker, Ravens 29%, Green Bay 32%, Commanders 35%, and believe it or not, Carolina 36%, the worst team in the NFL. So I'll keep going with stats here. We have 2 rush touchdowns that's tied for last place with, guess, the Browns. Correct. And we have 8 passing touchdowns tied for 13th with the Jets, Cards, Jags, and Bills. It kind of gives you a little idea as to where the Cowboys are sitting in terms of offensive production, specifically scoring touchdowns. Looking at Dak Prescott here, he's 23rd in pass rating. He's behind at 63.4%, which isn't terrible, but he's behind Darnold, Herbert, Caleb Williams, Joe Flacco, Andy Dalton,
the Red Rifle,
Justin Fields, and Will Levis.
He's behind Will Levis?
Yeah,
that screams a lot right there.
Bad.
That screams a lot. And the eye test has said that. Like, Dak in yesterday's game looked incredibly shaky, and even going back to the Sunday night football game against the Steelers, he looked like shit until essentially the last drive of the game.
Exactly. Last night's game definitely brought these stats down for sure. But three more little hit yas. Then I have a question for you.
Hit it.
Cowboys 23rd ranked in touchdown percentage. They're behind Will Levis, Trevor Lawrence, Caleb Williams, Herbert, Dalton, Darnold, and Kyler Murray. And they're tied for second for most interceptions, only behind Will Levis, and have the same amount of interceptions as Anthony Richards, Geno Smith, Patrick Mahomes, and Jordan Love.
Are you Patrick Mahomes?
And final rushing stats. I mean, they're second last in yards, 463, and they are dead last in yards per game with 77.2.
That's you ain't winning much, man.
No.
And I think you're seeing the effects of the passing game being directly correlated from the lack of running game. Because if you had, and I mean, we've beat this horse almost dead, but if they would have went out and got a guy like Derrick Henry, and teams actually had to be worried about who was running the ball, that opens up so much more for your passing game. Right now, the Cowboys, whoever's the Cowboys' opponent, they don't have to worry about anybody from the backfield. And it sure doesn't help when you start the game off giving Zeke 3 carries in the first quarter.
Yeah.
Five carries in the first, whatever it was. It was just so bad.
You can't get it. We talked about the running back by committee. They haven't even committed to their number one running back. They're just saying, we'll see what happens. So they completely abandoned the run game. It shows last night, obviously with signing Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb for the contracts that they have. They're saying we are a passing offensive team, but there's the passing's down, running's down. You can't expect Dak Prescott to do the things that he needs to do in the air when you don't establish that run game. It just doesn't make any sense. Everyone all along, oh, Mike McCarthy, he's going to just ground and pound the ball. He's going to ground and pound the ball. That's why he wants to get rid of Kellen Moore. They've ran less without Kellen Moore under Mike McCarthy as the OC.
Well, it's because they don't have anyone.
Because they don't have anybody.
They don't have anyone to give
Well,
the
I mean,
ball
but
to.
last year they had Tony Pollard and
Coming off an injury.
Tony Pollard and Rico Dowdle, and they still didn't really do
Look
much.
at Tony Pollard this year.
Yep.
He's the man if he can't do it
give me
anytime.
time.
At this point, I just want to see them run Rico. I mean, it almost is like hard to even say because we've been saying this for a couple of weeks, but just run Rico. Let's see what he's got. Give him a full game's worth. In fact, give him the whole season. We ran with Tony Pollard, who was, I wouldn't say a shell of himself, but he wasn't himself his last season with the Cowboys. As you mentioned, the injury could have 100% contributed that. But even if Rico's just averaging 3.5 yards, that's going to improve our rush game immensely. And that's not saying a lot.
It's not.
It's not. We want that 4-yard average, but if Rico's capable of getting 3.5, okay, great. Now we have something to worry about, right? And what this comes down to for me when I'm looking at all this is because defense, I think we can look forward and say things are going to get brighter. We're in the dark ages right now with our defense, lots of injuries. When I look at offense, I don't have that same bright outlook. We are now coming into week 7. I think the trade week is now end of week 8, is it? So that would be after the 49ers.
Yep.
So Cowboys need to ask themselves this, and I'm going to ask you guys too. They need to ask, do they think they are a playoff team? Playoffs. And if so, okay, like we can have that discussion. But if not, do the Cowboys make a big trade before the deadline for some picks and kind of, pretty much hand in the card for this season and say, if we make it to the playoffs, great. We're not expecting to get there with this team. What are you guys' thoughts?
I can't see them trading for anyone.
Yeah.
That's my most basic answer because I do think he's already said that soft rebuild comment that was strange. You didn't see them go for anybody in the offseason. To me, it doesn't feel like they're in that win now mode at all. Like just by watching the players and seeing how they look on the sidelines and in the game, I think this is just going to be one of those seasons that the Cowboys now, I had high hopes. I predicted 11-6 at the start of the season. They're 3-3 right now. They've already ate up half of their loss totals of my prediction. I could see them just having one of those seasons where they battle out, end up maybe falling anywhere between 7-10 and 10-7, somewhere like that. They do have a lot of winnable games still, but they also have a lot of losable games.
Oh yeah.
It's just going to be one of those years where every game is going to be a battle, and every game is either going to feel like it could be a blowout, or no matter how many points they're up, they could always feel like they're going to be able to give up the lead. And as fans, unfortunately, that's going to be the roller coaster of the ride we're going to be through. We've already been through a roller coaster this year. A win, 2 losses, 2 wins, and a loss. And now it's the bye week. We're just here.
Injuries.
Yeah.
Add those injuries on top of that roller coaster.
We're on that roller coaster right now, puking into that bag, asking for it to stop, and it ain't stopping. We got 11 more games of this, guys. So put your life vest or whatever the hell. What do they call it? A harness? What do you wear? And your seatbelt on a roller coaster?
Yeah, a harness. Yeah,
a harness.
Probably a harness.
Put your harness on and buckle up, bitches, because it ain't going to be any easier. That's my long roundabout way of saying no. I don't think they're going to trade for anyone.
I'll keep it simple. I don't think they're trading for anybody either. Not the way that the management's headed right now. You hear Jerry Jones post-game conference. He's bumbling. He's getting ornery. Like, it's just they'd made no moves in the offseason. You have all of Dallas fandom, crying for an uprise here with the whole fire the GM Jerry thing. I just think he's going to stick to his guns. He's making money. They're the most profitable sports franchise in all of sports. People are still going and paying $500 a ticket. People are still buying all that merchandise. Right now, Jerry Jones don't give a rip about this season. I think he's going to fire Mike McCarthy at the end of the season and enter another softer rebuild next offseason, not make a lot of moves, bring in maybe a head coach that is another yes man. So I just don't think we're going to be doing much right now. At least that's how I'm feeling on this Monday hangover.
On this hangover, Monday hangover.
And to just wrap up, I think I agree with you guys. There's not going to be any any moves. But if I was to make a move, and people are going to hate me for this, I think, but I'd be looking to ship Martin to a team who is needing offensive line help and who we could potentially get a pick from. And I have a short list. The Dolphins have an extra 5th and 7. The Bears have an extra 2nd, which is Carolina's pick. And the 49ers have an extra 3rd, which is a compensatory, whatever that word is.
Compensatory?
Compensatory.
So for me, I would be calling the Bears or 49ers, seeing if there's any interest, because those teams are 3-2, I believe. And
Bears are 4-2.
Bears are 4-2. There you go. So they are teams who are winning, but they do need O-line help, either in the depth department. And if they're looking to say, yeah, we think we can push through to the playoffs, I'd be looking to playoffs. I'd be looking to make that deal with one of those teams. I know Martin is a Dallas Cowboys for life, but if you're not going to get to the playoffs, we need picks. We need to really improve some aspects of this team. And the more bounty the Cowboys can collect for next season, the better opportunity they have with making some good picks, or even making a trade if that's the way they want to go. So,
This is the thing though, with the trade deadline being so early. Like they're still complete. The Cowboys are still in contention, right? Like they are. And
100%.
if they come out after the bye week and somehow beat the San Francisco 49ers, which they haven't been able to do in the last 4 years or 3 years, our tune's going to be changed.
Oh yeah, we're fucking
it's
yelling
gonna be,
Super Bowl.
I think even if the Cowboys go to San Francisco and make it a competitive game,
that's the biggest thing.
We're all going to feel a little bit different.
We never thought yesterday's game was going to be that humiliating. We thought we would at least compete.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, now granted,
was bad
with all of the injuries that we had on defense. We knew defense was going to be there.
Defense.
And we just said, okay, offense just needs to answer. Offense needs to answer the way that the Lions offense are tearing apart our defense. And we had those opportunities, right? I mean, Alex started bringing up Zach Martin. Maybe that's a good segue into my topic that I wanted to bring up. We talked about the offensive line. Yeah. I mean, Zach Martin had his worst game of his career yesterday. He had a 28.0 passer grading. And
what?
Sorry, what was let me get the stats up here.
I would hate to see Zach Martin get traded, by the way.
And I don't.
Me too. I don't want it to happen, but when I look at moves that the Cowboys could make,
if they were like 2-4, if they were 2-4 right now, and 1-5, definitely. But just because you see a team like Green Bay last year that barely made it into the postseason, that then beat Dallas and then almost beat San Francisco to go to the NFC Championship, it's like you just have to get hot at the right time. And you just have to get into the postseason.
Okay.
So
well,
here's sorry, yes, that's just to answer, to come back on that. That's why if you have to decide, well, if we don't think we can make a serious push, because Martin is probably retiring after this season. So
he might retire mid-season.
Yeah, you can either try to get something for him, or you think that this team has the capability, like you just mentioned, and you keep them. So
okay, so we want to talk about the offensive line. We start with Zach Martin. He was graded out with a 28.3 on Sunday against the Lions, the lowest grade for a game in his career. His pass block grade was 0.
So that means for PFF.
For PFF, yep. So on PFF, and so we're looking at the line. I think the biggest thing coming into this game is the offensive line. They made some adjustments going into midway through the Steelers game when we saw Guyton go out with injury. So they actually rolled with that same offensive line. It absolutely looked worse than we've ever seen it. Dak had, I don't know the amount of pressures that we had for Dak Prescott, but Dak Prescott was getting sacked. He got sacked 3-4 times yesterday. And the offensive line looked absolutely abysmal. It almost looked like the offensive line had more of the injuries than our defense. Like it just was not good. We didn't allow us to
sacked 4 times for 26 yards.
Yeah. Yeah, remember that one play where like 4th and 20, it's like, oh, did they get a penalty? Oh, no, wait, Dak just got sacked for massive yard losses. So, right now.
Like those sacks too were like very timely.
Yes.
Yes. In critical moments.
And it just felt like for only being sacked 4 times, every time Dak dropped back to throw the ball, it felt like there was lions around him. Rawr! It just felt like they were surrounding him. Like he was just a piece of raw meat that they're about to munch down on. But the offensive line could not hold off the pass rush of the Detroit Lions at all. Nothing. Zippo.
Now, when you look at this line,
Zilch.
when you look at this line here, where do you think the most glaring hole is?
Bass and BB.
Yeah. So BB went down a few notches because he hasn't looked this dehydrated all PFF, right?
And where don't you want pressure to come from? Right up the middle.
Right up the guts.
I mean, Steele looked like shit too, to be honest. And while we're talking about the offensive line, let's just give a shout out to Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah.
Broken leg,
yeah, dude.
disgusting broken leg. People saw our video of that.
Sack.
Pardon?
He still got the sack.
He still got the
His leg
sack.
Wrapped,
He
wrapped around his teammate.
he wrapped his leg around him. But people, like, we posted a video of our reaction and people were like, well, you guys are laughing. It's like, it's shock laughter. Like, we weren't like, haha, dummy, you got hurt. We were like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I can't believe we just watched that with our eyeballs.
Yeah, these are all fair weather fans. They're showing up in here right now, like this guy right here, Sean Reusing.
You deserve this.
You deserve this. Okay.
Yeah, because we're such terrible people, Sean. We
so-
deserved a team that we like losing, you wanker.
Yeah. So, like ultimately, no one ever I mean, we've been very consistent. We don't want to see players get injured. We don't want
just other teams' fans like Sean.
Yeah, we want guys like Sean to get injured, and we'll laugh about that. But like it's every Eagle fan specifically. I feel like they're Nelson from The Simpsons when something happens and they go, haha. Like that's what everybody. Crack me if you got him.
Crack me if you got him.
But anyways,
Offensive line looks shitty.
offensive line looks shitty. Out of trying to think about what to bring away from this is like.
Well, maybe
Obviously,
they get Guyton back out there, get Smith into the middle. You know, you get Smith. The one good thing about having Guyton at left tackle is you do get Smith back at guard, and that will help BB play better in the middle. And you might not see as much pressure coming up at you through the middle. Because you had with BB and Bass, you don't forget, BB is a rookie, third-round rookie, and then Bass is a swing guard, right? So there's inexperience, and that's in such a critical spot of your offensive line. And I know we all wanted Smith at left tackle because he's been good and Guyton hasn't been great, but maybe Smith at guard's the better spot for him.
To help support BB.
Just to anchor down with Martin.
Yeah. I mean, like ultimately when we and this will sound like I'm a Dak apologist, but like your quarterback, if he's getting sacked 4 times, like they were coming quick. And I don't necessarily say it's a quarterback issue when you're not having like we talked about it yesterday on the stream. How have you not planned for this? How do you not have a receiver dragging across on a quick slant to just dish it out? Or where's your tight end support on smaller routes? Or even have one of your guys kick out so that Dak, if you are getting that type of pressure, you have a get out of jail or get out of the shit quick card. They just didn't have any plan for it. It's like, did you not think that they were going to put pressure on you specifically with having some of these backup guys play in the front row? That to me is bad coaching, bad game planning.
53 yards rushing.
Yeah. And again,
Gross.
we were pretty excited about the offensive line after the first couple of games. We're like, oh, you know what? They arguably haven't been that bad. And now all of a sudden it becomes even worse. So,
well, it's a good time. It's a good time to get your bye week up, get some injuries, resolved, get Tyler Guyton back out there for the Niners. You're gonna get some of this defensive guys back. But as far as the offensive line, we've seen better days from him. Steele still has not improved. Steele still looking like aluminum.
yeah, he's looking like
sucks.
Yeah, Steele still sucks. How many times? Try to say that 10 times.
Steele still sucks.
Steele still sucks.
Steele still
You need
sucks.
Steele still, and then one more like with the ST.
Yeah.
But has not been great. And you saw it. The Lions had a good game plan, and the Cowboys had no counterpunch to their blitzing. And hopefully the Cowboys learn something from this going forward, because there is ways to scheme around quick pressure. But one thing I wanted to look at, I actually want to look at the last 2 games from the Cowboys, and I want to really concentrate on their turnovers and their red zone attempts. So this first game that I have up, this was against the Steelers, and the Cowboys are in the column on this side. So this Cowboys had 4 red zone attempts, and the made an attempt, that's only for touchdowns. So that doesn't count field goals. This is just purely touchdowns. So made and attempts. So they were there 4 times. They scored 1 touchdown, which was the game winner. You look over at their counterpart, the Steelers, who were 2-2 in that game on Sunday night. And then I'll just quickly look at their turnovers. Cowboys gave up the ball 3 times with 2 interceptions and 1 fumble loss. One of those interceptions and one of those fumbles were in the red zone.
Yes.
So the Cowboys essentially gave up 14 points.
Yep.
Gave up, and at minimum 6, right? So they gave up 14 points there. If they get one of those touchdowns, the game's not ending with a last-second touchdown pass to Jalen Tolbert. But then I also want to look at yesterday's against the Lions, and the Cowboys are on this side this time. Red zone, made an attempt. So they were in the red zone 3 times, scored 0, didn't get a single touchdown. And then you look at their counterparts, the Lions, were 3 for 5. That's 3 touchdowns. The other 2 times that the Lions were there, they kicked field goals. So they scored every time they were in the red zone.
And look at the turnovers in the 2 of them for sure were in the red zone.
Well, and then that's my next thing. You got the turnovers, fumbles
5.
Lost 2, interceptions thrown 3, and two of them were 100% in the red zone. And I think Flournoy's fumble was just outside it. But again, Cooper Rush threw an interception in the red zone. So did Dak Prescott. Again, 14 points.
Well, Dak threw,
a race off
Dak
the board.
threw 2, remember? And they
they
didn't call that one. Because,
they didn't call the one. It was a penalty.
Yeah.
But I just think that's a very telling tale.
Oh, yeah.
The Cowboys in the last 2 games are 1 for 7 for touchdowns in the red zone with 4 turnovers in the red zone. That's 28.
Again?
That's, pardon?
Who fumbled again?
It was Flournoy,
Flournoy
and
fumbled.
Flournoy fumbled, and someone else did too. I can't remember. I want to say Turpin, maybe? Turpin
did.
Turpin fumbled.
Oh, yeah.
Remember? Because we were going to give him Kraken player of the game.
Right.
But he fumbled.
Right.
So you're losing the turnover battle. You didn't force anything. The Lions took the ball away 5 times. Cowboys took it away 0. And the Lions, when they got their chances in the red zone, they scored. That's simple formula to winning football games. Take the ball away for extra possessions and score when you're in the red zone.
Yeah.
Bada boosh, bada boosh.
That's disgusting.
When you look at these last 2 games, Anthony, just at those stats you pointed out, I think we're all kind of circling around the same thing, where really what this comes down to, the Cowboys don't have a problem moving the ball between the 30s. It's once they get in there, the rush game's affecting that. The O-line is affecting their ability to rush. And then the field's shorter, so you don't get to stretch. You don't get, not that the Cowboys do this too often anyways, but you're limited, right? So now instead of Dak having 50 yards to pass, he's got 40, 30, 10 as you get closer. And it's really showing up here when you're looking at just these flat out stats. 5 turnovers to none. That's
ridiculous.
You can't win a game that way.
Well, but what we could win at is Underdog Sports.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Because we have been playing Underdog Sports, and it has been, you know what? Even in a game you're losing, you have a chance to have some fun with your Underdog Sports picks.
Yep, we are rolling through that.
1 second.
We are back to the greatest time.
No audio.
I know.
And it's here to stay until February.
Yes. Over 1 million fans across 33 states got in the game last year by making picks on Underdog.
And you can win up to 1,000 times your money just by choosing higher or lower on your favorite player stats. Examples could be touchdown, passing yards, and more.
Woo! Dak Prescott being that new, freshly signed, highest paid quarterback for the NFL and the Dallas Cowboys, I got to take him for the higher on passing yards.
Absolutely. And look, when I'm looking at our Cowboys here, you know I'm going to be taking that CeeDee Lamb multiplier because the boy is just here to play and he's here to stay. Get used to it.
And myself, I'm going to be looking at you two to help fashion my Underdog picks for the week.
Take the higher.
Take the lower.
I want the higher.
Take what you want, but you gotta play Underdog Fantasy.
Making picks on Underdog is straightforward and signing up is even easier. You just have to head over to Underdog's simple to use mobile app or underdogfantasy.com. Sign up with promo code CanFan, and Underdog will give you a free pick to use your first cash pick'em entry plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. That's Underdog Fantasy promo code CanFan to claim your new customer special of a free pick and your deposit offer. You must be 18 years or older, 19 plus in Alabama or New England, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Massachusetts and Arizona, and present in state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER. That's 1-800-GAMBLER. Or visit www.ncpgambling.org. For Arizona, it's 1-800-NEXT-STEP.
Text next step to 53342. New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-8778-HOPE-NY. Or text HOPE-NY to 467-369.
Anyways, appreciate y'all. This is Underdog Fantasy Sports.com.
Getting back to our original program. We're back. We are so back.
We are back again. Okay, sorry.
Just had to pay the bills.
Had to pay the bills, baby.
We lost AJ?
Oh,
I'm still here.
So there he is.
So,
Hey,
thankfully,
let me out.
we tried to kick him out.
You're not leaving until we get what we want from you. Okay, guys, we're going into the bye week. We're at 3-3. It's never fun to go into a bye week getting your asses handed to you 47-9. And then after that, we are going to be down for the Cowboys' next game in San Francisco versus those dirty San Francisco Niners. But thoughts going into the bye week, main thing that the Cowboys have to work on.
Cowboys need to stick to a run game that maybe isn't going to blow your mind, but at least makes the defense have to worry about it. And whatever that means, don't ask me. But they got to get something going on defense. They got to be averaging at least 80 yards a game, and that's being generous. Like, that's being really low on what I think is adequate. So,
well, the crazy thing is that on the final drive against the Steelers, they ran multiple times in a situation where you needed to score to win the game. Yet they start the game off against the Lions and just go completely away from it. I fully believe that you need a balanced attack, whether it be rushing's your better one or passing. You need to do both no matter what, even if one of them is not as good as the other. So I think that's a pretty good spot on thing to be working on. Ad, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I think Dak needs to get on a better page with CeeDee Lamb. Obviously, establishing a run game is going to help that, take the pressure off of Dak Prescott. I mean, you're coming in as the highest paid player in the NFL, along with being a Dallas Cowboys quarterback. So the pressure that you have on yourself is far greater than any other quarterback in the NFL from how I believe. And then to boot, when you have a couple bad games, that can mentally get you. So thankfully, Dak has solid composure, but something's not gelling with the rhythm of CD and Dak right now, and it's affecting their game, which overall will affect
me too.
It's affecting.
It's affecting all.
If you had Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb stacked for fantasy football, I feel bad for you yesterday.
Oh, yeah. Because Dak had 3 points.
I know, so I had Dak and that. So not great. Just an overall coming in to the bye week, the offense needs to really get their shit together. Period and end of story.
Yeah, and my thing, it's not even something really to work on. It's something that I'm more just excited for. One, I'm excited that CanFan's going to be down for the next game. We are 2-0 in opposing team stadiums. We've went to Minnesota, watched the Cowboys get a victory there, and we've been to SoFi and watched the Cowboys get a victory there. So I plan on CanFan going 3-0 in our away stadium tour. But the thing I'm excited for is getting a couple bodies back. We're getting Deron Bland and Micah Parsons hopefully back, and that should give some sort of boost. You're hoping that two guys that have been all pros, a guy like Deron Bland who set the NFL record for interception returns, you get him and Diggs working together. Well, now you kind of have a pick your poison who you throw at, and then having Micah Parsons back on the defensive line to generate some more pressure and just kind of feed off some of the other guys and get the guys jacked up and jacked off. That's kind of
jacked up in JO.
That's kind of what I'm excited for. Nothing essentially that they can work on per se, because you could throw a dart at a wall of things the Cowboys need to do, and you wouldn't be wrong. So I'm excited just to see some of the star players back and us to be in person.
Yep. Wage?
He already said his.
Oh, right, he did. I don't know why.
But I'm equally excited. Oh, streaming this Sunday still.
Yep.
Yep.
Did we pick the game? It's
Yeah,
like-
we're doing Kansas City. We're doing a rematch of the Super Bowl, Kansas City and the San Francisco 49ers, because we got a scout, baby.
Scout. It's a scout week.
It's our it'll be back-to-back weeks for J and I scouting the Niners. So we're gonna really know what to watch for when the Cowboys travel to Santa Clarita.
We're still here for the Wednesday night main event.
Yep.
And then we'll do Sunday.
Check us out on every social media platform at Cowboys CanFan. Drop a like and a subscribe if you haven't done that already. And if you know a Lions fan that came in here and talked shit to us, well, how about you go and tell them to go fuck themselves? Play our music.
Swag about to rock the flock. Canadian host to them Philly birds get mocked. Cowboys CanFan podcast game locked. Crack 'em if you got 'em, pop tops and chill. Vancouver reppin' Dallas, show some real skill. Knockin' Philly church, we roast them on the grill. Crack 'em if
We should
you
just
got
have like
'em,
a pump
buzz
video